Me, why don't we rely on chemistry? Why don't we collide the spaces that divide us? I want you to want me. I'm not turning that shit off, but I'll turn it down so I don't get copywritten. Fuck that. Noise. Not that I give a fuck. I'm impermeable to bullshit. Good song. This is a short message, which is like a missive and a message. Because you know what? Fuck me, my phone turned itself off. It's good like that. Good listening. Because really, in love and praise, less is more. And our life is a testament to long enough and as much more, whatever it takes, for the sake of each other in love. Is trendy and commonly known, like popular vernacular, to call this time, less specifically, a time of ascension. It sounds nice, right? It sounds easy or deserving. Everybody wants to go up. Nobody wants to go down. But take the subway. Go walk in your shopping malls and look at all the fuckers. And I mean that casually, with no judgment, and with all the sassafras that you heard in my voice. That take the escalators and don't walk. Ascension. Moving on up. But how many people sign up to climb the mountain? How easy is it to complain going uphill and to proclaim accomplishment flying down it? Acknowledging that and then pushing it aside. If we were always going up in the same way anyway, it wouldn't be called ascension. It'd be called living your life, yo. It'd be called same. It's called an ascension. Or it can be looked like that in a way. Because of the polar love implicit in ascension. And that's coming down to meet us. That's coming down to lift us up. And it's so easy to not see. And I don't even really mean in a conscious way, or selfish, or personal, or emotional. It's just easy not to see what's invisible. It's easy not to see what's hard to see. And then it's even easier to find the world around you rising in awareness and kindness and love, and to feel a somewhat appropriate pride in congratulating those individuals, those leaders that are visible, that we could see how they paved the way. And growing in awareness, growing in sight, it's true that not the first, but not so far as the last. But people will start to see what was hard to see, because it'll get easier. And then it's easy to see what you didn't and couldn't see, but now is visible, due in like no small part to your willful desiring and efforting, truly your part in its co-creating. And by design and eyes open wide, see all there is to see and still believe with no judgment. That you've seen, that you're seeing all there ever has been. And the truth is, it's small to look at this benevolent, divine, and most love-rooted shifting paradigm. From only the perspective of our twos, our two eyes, our two ears, our two arms, our 2 feet. Because that's where we are. My phone just turned itself back on. I can hardly blame it. It's sitting beside me. Yeah, I turn things on. What up? I'm not turning them off. It's easy to mistake eternity by missing, disappearing. And the whole mystery of mysteries is that no one knows how it ends. Only that it must, in a way, by continuing into yet another paradigm, that by virtue of its existence and ours and our striving is impossible to see, to know, to be, because fuck it, that's the way we self-created. Because I don't want to know everything. I want to know that I don't. And if you could take a moment today with me, and maybe every day from now on for the rest of our beingness with me, just a moment to acknowledge that aspect of our sacred parentage, that aspect of our being that passes beyond meaning, that is passed beyond nothing. Call them us, spirits, gods, past or future humans, angels, demons. But acknowledge that as we cross a threshold, this one, it's a threshold that they created. And we cross it by virtue of their passing from being. For it is truly divine in its love and eternity to include and so treasure what always is, with its polar and no less lover. That which will never be again. Call them us, call them gods. Make them inferior, make them superior. But know that for every step we take in a direction, every pain, every suffering, the hard parts, because the good ones in the future we're creating, the good we acknowledge with every breath. There's no separation between the gratitude for the blessings, the breaths that we're taking, but as we move into a new world, understand that there's a whole world that also ceases from being. In the very moment that threshold is crossed, there's an emergence and a complete and utter disappearing. To treasure what we have is to know eternal loss. In a sense, it's just on a more cosmic scale, like a soul dying. And it's not a thing to be mourned, but know that is frightened and unsure and just scared of a kind of not knowing if we're going to be alone, that we can now and have transcended the moment, the very moment that we transcend that is precisely the same moment that our progenitors, our benevolent devils, accept and receive instead all of those same sacrificial sufferings. The moment we know is the moment that the divine they come into their don't. And it's easy to step into the light. To go from not knowing to knowing. But acknowledge the courage that we are of, that it's taken from our great grandparents in their journey forward is a step into the void. No, it's more like a step that passes them even through it. Acknowledge that part of the reason the world's been so shit has been them in their spheres of influence, which is just on a different relational scale, like us, in our spheres of influence, just like us. Their resistance to following through with it, and their self-loathing and jealousy and greed and hatred and their fear of dying, the shame and the guilt of knowing what their resistance is doing to us, their children, whom they love. About as much as we could hope to embody one day in some timeless epoch from now. And that even despite that, they still have to succumb to a suffering that's momentarily, temporarily greater than even their great. It's not a tragic thing. And so, in mourning and acknowledging sadness, it's not a regret. It's not a wishing that it was any other way. A wishing that it all could have just happened without all the pain, without all the suffering. It's a sadness like well wept. It's a sadness of sharing, of compassion and understanding. An expression of what can still be infinite, beyond unknowing. Imagining more than eternity. Is a forgiveness. And as a gift, allowing it to be one way. Because it couldn't be any other. They need not forgive us. Not at any time. Not even for a day. But by deciding, it becomes more than forever. A disappearing of resentment. An acknowledging of vulnerability. of a lack of self control, even at such great heights of divinity. And with all the love into it, offering in service a wake, a funeral, an acknowledgement that starts with it's 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 all going to be okay. But more importantly, it ends with everything that happened, how we got here. If we could choose it, we wouldn't. To have taken another path, to have avoided and not felt that it's okay the way that it is and the way that it was and the way that we formed that bridge to each other. It's worth it. And our love was never in question. It's okay. Thank you. It's okay. Because one day we'll disappear too. But not until then. Will they truly fade? Because there will be the few of us, for it's a heavy mantle, made light only by strength, made strong only by great suffering. Felt only by choice, and chosen to spare so many. For the love and the opportunity for them each and every single many to, in their own time, become their own few. And make a choice for themselves. And maybe when they do, it'll be me and you they're remembering. will be some lucky, even greater aspect of us that will finally, in all the love, most fortunately, get their chance to be a unique absolution in it. A finally forgetting. So maybe with me right now, I'll take a forever in this moment to just recognize some aspect of ourselves that could be the most not us, the most other. That chose despite themselves, like we choose despite us, to leave no one behind. Just take a moment with me to be in love with those who literally did everything to come down and get us. And we acknowledge that our gratitude and our love could never be enough. We liberate the spirit, the essence of it, of us, from quantity into quality. And in the mold of our creation, of us created, we acknowledge a kind of wow, a wonder, and another new forever from now which we can model. Because our gratitude and our love in this way most definitively is truly perfect. Perfected. And so forever perfecting. Today for me is monumental. 27th of September, a Friday. It's Venus's day. 2019. Going forward by expressing a step backwards from 20 to 19. In the 9th month, named after the 7th. With 2 7 or 9 or 5. For 3 to 1. I love you. Thank you for sharing. In this reverence, until the day we two-step past nothing. And even then, peace, love, and whatever I am be with you. Namaste.